next time on Dragon Ball Z.
I found myself without a leader, helpless, and yeah, I got a tracker rally set by me by one of the titans in the kingdom. So right away I knew what their intentions were. Now, if you flash forward about, I want to say 22 hours later or so, they were coming for me. I did not have my leader. I was gonna actually get my leader in like the next 2 hours, but I saw them coming. They knew that I was online. I'm almost 100% sure. And yeah, here they come. It was a triple rally, and I told everyone to just give me T4 reinforcements, because I figured the more T4 I have, probably the easier it'll be to take down the rallies. I didn't really care too much about my T2. I know that they were gonna go down, but as long as they don't touch my T4, I didn't really care, because obviously T2 is much easier to train than T4. So one of the main mistakes that a lot of people do, especially when they found themselves in a situation like this, where they got triple rallies or whatever, they start to panic. And honestly, that's probably the worst thing that you can do. Now I know it's a lot easier said than done until you're in that position. It's kind of hard to simulate it, but I was just so happy that I was finally being rallied after years and years of never actually being rallied. I figured that eventually it was gonna happen, and if it did, it would have to be with me not having a leader. Now obviously that could have shielded, not taking a hit, but you know what, I ain't no bitch. So I said, okay, we're gonna take these hits, and we're gonna see what they're gonna send. Now I went with infantry wedge just because I figured the less likely troop that they would send is cavalry, just going based off of what I had seen from them in the kingdom. I know that one of them usually went full ranged, and then the other one also usually either goes infantry or range. So I thought, okay, so if I can just try to counter those two at the very least, I'm not too worried about the other one. Also, another thing that I did is I had another emulator open on another of my monitors, and I was actually watching the action happen there. And as you can tell, I was actually sending myself some resources. So even though it looks like it's another account, it was actually just me sending myself some resources. So now here was the strategy, right? Because their timing, their rally timing was pretty much impeccable. They have the same rally time and all of that. So I figured, okay, if for some reason I can go ahead and heal in between one, because their walk time might be a little different, that's what I'm gonna go for. Now they actually tested my phalanx and whatnot, and I figured, okay, so since they probably have the wrong information, since I'll change the phalanx, I won't have to worry about it too much now. So at this point, we're just kind of waiting. I'm just waiting and waiting. Now, there was one thing that I did not count on, and we're going to touch on that in a bit. But I started to go ahead and actually get a bunch of resources from other people, which is usually sometimes it's a giveaway that you're online, but in this case, I'm pretty sure that they knew that I was online. They just didn't care. I didn't care. So it was happening. So we're down to 15 seconds, and I'm gonna go over here to my infirms. That way, when they start marching, I heal, I take the rally and heal again, and then I'll just watch their march from the other emulator. At least that was the plan. But yeah, like I said, something happened that I was not really banking on, but I mean, it was still fine. So I'm just waiting. I'm waiting and waiting, and here we go. Here it comes. I'm seeing that the enemy coalition troops are coming, and it hits, and I'm thinking, I didn't get any wounded. What happened? So I go ahead and heal, and then take the next hit, and actually this one was walking really slow. I was even waiting for it. I'm like, yo, what's going on? Why is it taking forever? And it was a full range hit. I didn't really have too much time to switch into an infantry phalanx instead of wedge, but still, I was just over 1 billion might. Literally like just over, and that dropped me down about 18 million might from all the rallies. It looks like actually one of them was cancelled for whatever reason. I really don't know why, but take a look at that. That's what I was not counting on. That one, that's definitely the one that hurt. This one kind of hurt, but I mean, it's just T2, not that big a deal. But the one that I was not counting on was them not only using Hellfire, which means that everything that gets hurt is dead, no infirms for me. And the second thing is for them to use the bunny. Although the bunny now is getting used like a bunch, I was definitely not counting on both of them being used at once. So yeah, that's the one thing that kind of threw me off. The T4 size, it was actually a little misleading because most of that was like 300 plus of reinforcements, so I didn't actually have that many T4. And if you guys know me, my troop comp is not really like troop heavy. I think I only have like 200 million plus of troop might, something like that. So it's not much. So I feel like I did really well considering I did not have my leader. And if you do not already know, when you do not have your leader, the stats of your troops are the ones on the left. You know how you go to the green stats and you check out, oh, my cavalry is this, etc. To the left of that is the base stats, and that's what my troops were. So it was like 100 and something percent instead of the 400 500% that they usually are. The army HP is way less, etc. So I actually waited until my hero revived, and because I had eaten a shroom. And yeah, there it is. Auto revives in 6 days. I'm gonna go ahead and just insta revive, and as soon as I insta revive, their chance was pretty much out the window. But I want to go back and take a look at these reports a little bit closer, because this is the one that definitely hurt. But the good thing is they did not touch my T4, so I was completely happy about that. 2 million, I believe it was mainly T2 infantry and a little bit of T2 calves, so it wasn't like all completely one. And look at all these familiars. It's pretty much like the best familiars: Rascal Rabbit and the freaking Hellfire, which is what really hurt. But if you actually take a look at these familiars, I'll actually go ahead and show you. Using those two familiars in one rally is very costly. Like, this one takes 18 of these to actually use, and 10 of them is 71,000 gems. So if you do the math, we're talking like 120 something thousand gems just to do that. And then this one, the same thing, another 18. So we're talking about like 250,000 gems just to activate those two familiars. That's a lot. Like, that's a lot. Now, and I get it, you don't always pay gems because you might have some, but I'm pretty sure that they probably don't have that many since they use it quite often. But let's go ahead and take a look at the battle. So of course, it's my 15 million troops versus their 2.3 and change. But again, with no leader, these 15 million troops might as well be like 5 million or something. They're so weak. And you see all of these familiars just going ham, just procking and procking and procking. One thing that I would definitely suggest to you guys is not only keep the familiars that would proc right away, like the ones that would lower their HP, but if you must keep one of the tier 3 familiars to help you, even though that only procs when you lose 10% of your troops, try to keep the one that you think you would usually defend with, because it's better to have that familiar in case something happens like this rather than something else. And because I was an infantry wedge, my infantry familiar actually procced a couple of times, and you know, erased my attack by 200%. Now, my base attack was actually really low, so it probably wasn't boosting too much, but it's better than 0, right? So that's one of the main things that I would suggest to you guys. At the end of the day, though, I'm just so happy that I finally got rallied, and I felt that rush finally, because goodness gracious. Now this was the other one that sent full range at me. They have Savage Breath maxed out, which I was a little bit surprised at, because that familiar is not very easy to max out. But let's go ahead and view this battle. Now obviously this one was nowhere near as bad, because first of all, it's not a maxed, you know, full mythic champ, 120 stars, blah blah blah. It's not all that. And it looks like his research is a little lacking. It seems like he's a trap, I believe. I don't know. But with that gear, it's gotta be a hell of a trap, because his might and that gear usually don't go together. So I was like, what the heck? I got a 300 plus million might rally me? What they think they're gonna do? And then they whip out that gear. You're like, oh, hold up. wait a minute. But yeah, I mean, when you're missing all of the extra stuff and you're running into your counter, granted it was a wedge, but still it was range going off mainly on infantry. Even with no leader, that's usually a pretty easy win for me. I did still take a little bit of reds on this one, so I think overall I lost about 2.5 million T2 on that whole fiasco. But actually, you know what? All of that worked out perfectly because I lost those troops, right? But the good thing is that when I went ahead and checked out what the 24-hour event was, I was like, wait a minute. Oh, this is perfect. I'll just go ahead and train them back up. Look at this. Train soldiers. And guess what the 24-hour event is? Yes, Chaos Dragon and the seeds, which is one of the main things I still need, so it worked out. So yeah, shout out to everybody that rallied me and supported me. And until later.